first year made 20 grand part-time, trying to figure this thing out. Now, by the way, my background was I used to work for Discover Card, the credit card company in Sandy. That's where I grew up. My wife and I both grew up in Sandy, Utah. And then I would get off work at Discover Card, and I would go do construction with my cousin, and I would go do just grunt work, you know, cleaning stuff up, whatever he needed. And I would work pretty much every minute I wasn't at Discover Card, I was out doing construction stuff for him to make ends meet. And now my wife and I were newly married, and we'd get a little bit of money saved, and that auto insurance bill would come due, right, every 6 months. And then it'd drain our savings again, you know what I'm talking about? And we didn't own anything, right? We were renting, we had car loans, we had 2 car loans. And that was how we started life, and a lot of people start out kind of like that. Yes or no?
Yes.
And had I not been introduced to Primerica by a coworker, see, a coworker at Discover Card, thank goodness he had enough guts to introduce me to Primerica. He said, Brandon, you got to come take a look at this company, and I put him off for a while. I was very skeptical. Thank goodness he had enough guts to tell me, because he did that, and I came down to a meeting similar to this one, but it was in Sandy, in our Sandy office at the time, and I saw what you saw tonight. Now, I was 22 years old. I was in the 3rd or 4th row back, and I looked a lot like this guy right here with my arms folded the whole time. And I didn't like laughing at the jokes. Right? I was too cool. Right? I was acting like I was, you know, I wasn't going to get too excited, you know. But I was excited when I saw this stuff. I went, "This is. I mean, you got a company like Primerica. Did you see those companies that invest in this company? And they're willing to give someone like you or I a shot to get involved in this thing, and we don't have any financial services background. We don't even know how to run businesses, and they're willing to teach us how to run a business and be multi-million, pay us all. Is that unbelievable?" So I thought that was incredible. So I love that, the aspect of give me a shot. I love what we did for families. I mean, I saw this, and for me, it was a no-brainer. We got involved. I was 22, Lexi was 18. And so that first year getting in, again, I'll talk more about what I did later, but I mean, it was hard for me, you know? This business did not come easy for me. But I didn't need easy, I just needed possible, okay? And if that's how you feel, this is probably a good place for you. Because it's not easy, but it is possible. Where you're at right now is probably not possible. What I'm talking about becoming financially independent. And a lot of you think it's possible, but I'm going to show you some stuff in a second. You might question that in a second. So you don't want to hear that. But see, I didn't need easy, I needed possible. And how about you? Okay?
Yes.
So first year I got in, I go, I'm going to get really good at this. I'm going to spend all this time. So first year made 20 grand. Second year went full time. I was working a couple nights a week trying to figure this thing out. Second year we went full time. Thought I'd maybe double my income, make 40 or 50, which would have been good for me at 23, 24 years old. Running my own schedule, making 40, 50,000 a year. Running my own, not bad, right? But we didn't make 20. We made 105,000 our second year. Okay. You jumped the gun there, Steve.
I thought you were
I was building up to that. But is that kind of crazy though? I had just turned 24 years old. Now, anybody competitive in here? If any of you are like 24 or younger, or 24 or older, if you're 24 or older and you see that I was making 105 grand and you're not making that yet, you should be going, you got to be like a little bit fired up right now, like, what, that ain't fair. What the heck is up with that, right? Because I was competitive. I mean, if I was 22 and I saw a guy get up who was, 24 saying he's making 100 grand a year, I would have said, what does that guy do? I'm going to do exactly what he did. There's nothing that's going to stop me. That's just me, though. Okay? Third year made 183, so I was 25 years old, just turned 25, 26 years old, 27 years old, 28 years old, 29 years old. This is annual income, by the way. This isn't cumulative. This is annual. Okay? So that's 83. It's about 85 grand a month. 80, no, 87.
Oh no, $300,000 a year raise sounds good.
Not bad, right? So that's 7 years in the business, but the biggest part is freedom, right? Freedom. So I'm going to talk. So why should you pay attention? Now, look, I don't care what somebody's talking about that's been able to do. Like an average guy like me can be in a company like this, where you can come into this company as well, and that's possible. I don't think you have to be that sharp to figure out that that's someone you might want to listen to, right? I'm not trying to brag about myself. I don't know. I mean,
That's why you're here.
I have a track record, right? So I know it's Monday night, it's probably family night, and you took time away from your family night to be here, which we really appreciate, okay? But this is about your family. This is family night, really, okay? Because we're doing this for your family. Look, so Look, we already know what's going on right now with jobs, don't we? Do we know? I mean, these are headlines, right? If you look at the population, 90% of the population earns less than $75,000 a year, and that's a problem today. Because if you look at what's happening with inflation, see, back in the 60s, if you made $5,000 per year, you had an okay life. You were able to stay debt-free, save enough money to retire one day. Dad worked, mom didn't work. Now, granted, Dad worked a lot of hours, though. They don't work in these piddly little 40-hour work weeks. You understand that? Right? Our parents and grandparents, they were working a lot more hours than this 40-hour week. Who came up with 40 hours a week? Huh? And that's something, right? I was talking to my dad on the way here. Carson and I were with my brother. And he works for a power company. He just worked 22 hours straight. Like, he's just getting on the shift, like right now.
And Carson?
22 hours straight. No, not Carson. My dad.
Your dad. Oh,
Yeah, he can't handle it.
oh, I'm like, oh.
40 hours a week is way too much.
No, but see, that's not like one full day, right? With a lot of overtime, but he does that all the time, right? He'll do that for multiple days sometimes, some weeks, right? And anyway, so work ethic's a big issue in today's society, right? But my dad isn't a part of this generation. He's part of, right, baby boomer generation. He still knows how to work. They're going to see instilled that in us growing up. So I already knew how to work hard when I came into primary. If you do not know how to work hard, you better really work with us and learn how to work hard, or you are screwed. Can I say that in Utah County? Yeah. You are screwed. You are. Okay? Now look, in the 70s, if you made $10,000 a year, you're okay. Stayed debt-free. Mortgages were about $9 grand, $10 grand back in the 60s, by the way. Okay? So people weren't rich here. They didn't feel rich, but they were a lot more rich than people are today. They were a lot richer than people are today. Because you couldn't get debt back then like you can now. You had to pay cash for it. So people scrimped and saved and paid cash for things, so they were richer back then with this income. Is that unbelievable? Look at this. Every 10 years, look what's that. Don't be clicking this year. All right. That was me. All right. So what's happening every 10 years? It's doubling. Look at this. So in the 2008 grand year, the problem is jobs in the 80s, or in the 2000s, paid about $50,000. That was household income. $50,000 a year, that's average household income back in 2010. Look, or 2000. Now 2010, you got to be making one. That was almost 4 years ago, right? $160,000 a year today plus, but guess what? Jobs pay less today than they did 13, 14 years ago. In fact, the average household income today is actually even a little bit less than $48,000. About $45,000, $46,000, depending on where you read. Is that a major problem?
Yeah.
So see, when we talk about you got to be making $160,000 a year just to be considered middle class income, a lot of you right now you're calling BS. You're going full crap. You're full of crap. And listen, think about this. Look at where credit card debt is now. Look at where mortgage loans are today. Everybody owns a mortgage of $250,000, $300,000 plus. Yes or no? For the most part. Look at student loan debt. Right? Car loans. So we feel like we're okay when we're making 50.
Right.
We feel okay. We feel like we're getting by. Because we can pay our payments barely, or we can pay them. But if you compare to how it used to be, so we're in major trouble right now. America is in major trouble. Now, if you have a solution to that kind of a problem, that magnitude of problem, do you know how much opportunity you have? It's kind of like if you had a cure for cancer. Would that be a pretty big opportunity? For one, you'd save millions of lives. Two, you would make a lot of money. All good things. Okay? Making a lot of money is a good thing, by the way. It's a good thing.
Yes. Yes.
It is a good thing. Okay? It's okay. See, if you don't think it's a good thing, if you don't think it's important, I want you to think about something. If you started telling, those of you that are married, you started telling your spouse that they weren't that important to you, like so I hear people say sometimes, money's not that important. Try telling your spouse they're not that important for a while. See how that goes. See? You better think it's important, or it's going to run from you. You understand that?
Yeah.
He said, I told you I was gonna tell you how it is quiet in here, I told you.